You're listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast with Prep Baseball Wisconsin, breaking down the top high school prospects and featuring all things college baseball recruiting in a changing world. Hosted by Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields, and Andy Sroka, this is Badger State Ball.
All right, guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Badger State Ball Podcast with me. You got me, Andy Sroka here, as well as Vinny Rotino, Josh Fields. No Nick DiBenedetto today. That's just because we're going to be talking mostly about the Green Bay Preseason ID, which Nick was not at, but he was with us this past weekend when we were elsewhere in the state. We were in Racine this past weekend, but we're kind of circling back on the Green Bay Preseason ID, which we're going to be spending most of our time on this episode. Saw something like, 120 kids, 120 players at this event. It was really, really good. It showed us like a ton of names to add to our list, especially inside like these underclasses, 2028s, 2029s. But there were some really interesting takeaways to specify, lock in on from the 2027 class, so the juniors in Wisconsin. Saw a handful of 2026s as well. But I guess before we really sink our teeth into the Green Bay Preseason ID, anything you guys want to just chat on beforehand? It's been kind of a whirlwind of a winter, as expected. But, just help us set the table here for this episode.
Well, I just want to say first and foremost, I kind of alluded to and kind of encouraged people around the state that wanted to help out and give us good vibes. I could almost feel it, even if you weren't there in person. That Green Bay Preseason ID, we could feel the vibes coming from around the state from you guys just to help with, making sure that event was run as smooth as it possibly could. I think it was for the most part, but it just, I think the takeaway, on the whole, though, guys, is how much talent is in the state. I know we say that a lot, but, I mean, it is coming out of the woodwork from all corners of the state, out of the cracks. We saw a bunch of it in Green Bay. Like you said, Andy, that 2027 class is really impressive from that day that was on March 1st. So we're going to, just go through the names and really kind of highlight some of the key takeaways. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think the most fun part was just learning the names of some of the players that maybe it was their first event, first time coming to a prep baseball showcase of any kind, or even tournament for that matter. Like just any time, like we can see somebody that we hadn't seen before who's totally warranted, like a closer look, or just even a spring visit sometime. Like if we can get out and see them play some baseball this spring, which is coming right up, right around the corner. I think that's always a great feeling. So we'll get into some of those names that totally made a name for themselves in Green Bay from just a week and a half ago or so. So one of the points that we wanted to touch on right off the bat here was Fields and I have been going through some of the spring high school stuff already. Just like we mentioned, it's kind of crazy how fast the spring high school baseball season sneaks up on us, just right on the heels of our showcase circuit. But one of the takeaways was just how interesting Kakana's roster looks. And we had them as a preseason rank in 2025, just because we were, pretty impressed with the roster, obviously, but like the arms, there's like Bron Schaefer, Paxton Shue, and so on. But then, like, it feels like we need to think about them again in 2026, just because some of the athletes that seem to have taken steps forward, positionally anyway, and specifically inside the 2027 class. Fields, I'll let you talk on some of these guys, but I'll just rattle through the names. Blake Vanderloo was probably one of the top, maybe the top overall performer at the Green Bay Preseason ID. Bryce and Tyler Urban. Bryce Urban looked like a really, really good catcher in the state that people need to be paying attention to. Another junior, Quentin Gussman, outfielder, Bennett Geithner. I think there were some others as well, but those are the names that we had kind of written down here that we wanted to speak to. But Fields, I'll let you talk a little bit about Blake Vanderloo. We were trading some text messages about it, learning a little bit more about like the changes from one performance to the other. Fast forwarding to this year, how he's gotten better. But just straightforward, it looks like he should be one of the top uncommitted statistical performers in the state. But can you elaborate on that a little bit more on just Vanderloo and his performance here a week ago?
Yeah, I mean, Vanderloo, first look at him was last summer at a tournament. Jerby North kid, I believe, at the time. Now he's over at ISA, but Yeah, year over year, just the tools all over the board have just really ticked up. I mean, he's running a 6.62 now. There's some outfield velo and just, I mean, I'm mentioning the exit velo here last just on purpose, just because I mean, he averaged 91 and it was 105 and a half max, which just it seemed easy. It seemed like it was kind of effort. Like I mean, it's not effortless, but it was like easy power to get to from the left side. And I mean, if any of these tools translate into game even a little bit, this guy's going to shoot up our board and just be like Andy had referred, just one of the top uncommitted players in the state.
Yeah, how about his performance this summer, just a few months ago, right? Was 95 max exit velo, jumped all the way up 10 miles per hour. I don't know if we do see that from time to time. Guys go from, 90, 97, but like to already be in that 95, high 90s range to jump up that much. It was impressive. The kid's got all kinds of strength in his hands too. 161 pounds of force that he's squeezing on the grip strength. So that's an indicator of quite a bit of strength that the kid possesses. Impressive stuff from Blake Vanderloo. Just kind of not coming out of nowhere, but certainly a guy that's put himself on the map quite a bit. Yeah,
I mean that's a great call, Vinny. I mean going like the exit velocity increase of 10 miles an hour is one thing, but 95 to 105 is nothing to kind of overlook there. I mean, that's super impressive, especially because, I mean, he's 5'11", 183 pounds. I think that's what he was at, like, officially, and, like, when we kind of measured these kids at each of our events. And the fact that he was making that kind of impact in that frame as a 6'6" runner, I mean, there's really not that many examples of players like that in the state. I mean, he kind of puts himself in rare air, at least metrically. So he's one that we'll need to prioritize seeing in the spring for sure. So Blake Vanderloo, huge takeaway there, as well as maybe Quentin Gusman. Vinny, do you have your notes in front of you just to talk a little bit about him? Just because I didn't get to see a ton of hitting myself, kind of bouncing around doing defense and some of the other stations at our event. But just looking on video, Quentin Gusman, that was a player we would have been excited to see going into the event, and it seems like he may have even exceeded expectations too.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this kid is all kinds of twitched up as well, and so just the ability to barrel up the baseball at will during the hitting portion of the event, spray it to all fields. I mean, this kid is going to hit in game. I mean, I love when I see a swing like this that is going to translate into game. I mean, you just have that gut feel. That's the kind of gut feel I had with Quentin Gusman. The kid, it's loose, it's relaxed, it's fluid, it's that that tall and fall kind of left-handed, like almost like I'm not throwing out a comp here, but I'm just saying almost like a Adam LaRoche type of like a setup, super relaxed, and then just kind of like drops the barrel on balls. It's a swing that is going to play in game, and the fact that he's left-handed is certainly a bonus as well.
Yeah, I was going to say Ken Griffey Jr., actually.
Nice. Well, I know the ISA guys are listening on pins and needles, waiting for what kind of comps I drop during this episode.
Well, there you go. Some good ones off the bat.
Waiting for the next Jason Birkin and Eric Cordier comp.
Yes, exactly. And both these guys too, Vanderloo and Gusman. Like we think we might have glossed over it, but both left-handed hitters. Like so, it's like on top of all these metrics we're just throwing out there, it's like they also happen to be left-handed bats. So it's just making themselves even more rare than they already seem to be.
And Andy, I just want to reiterate that point for the listener that, especially now more than ever, guys being able to shape and enhance their breaking balls, that same-handed hitter is you're just going to be at a little bit of a disadvantage, right? So these guys with nasty right-handed sweepers that with huge horizontal movement, that is going to affect, the fact that, the left-handed hitter is going to have an advantage. Now, there are rare talents that doesn't matter, and we've seen a bunch of those in the state of Wisconsin here this year. But, yeah, the fact that those guys are left-handed is certainly an advantage.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's a good point. Like, just as guys, on the mound, there's just a lot more instruction and knowledge and information out there. So it's like they are a little bit more it's a little bit easier for them to maybe get their hands around, how do I throw a sweeper, et cetera. And it's just, it kind of takes away some of that when you're facing a left-handed hitter and kind of inherently makes them a little bit more valuable. I think I was the same way, but you're just like less inclined to throw a changeup when you're in high school because it's exciting to throw a really good breaking ball. And like if you have fewer reps throwing a changeup, you have fewer ways to get out a left-handed hitter if you're a right-handed pitcher. Just little things like that, little kind of nuances that I think help kind of illustrate how the advantage plays out in high school anyway, and obviously continues to play out through college and pro bowl and stuff too, of course. But just kind of adding some more context into that whole right-handed, left-handed hitter, the values there and like just the intricacies and makes them just a little bit more different than each other and how we kind of evaluate them, in event and beyond. So that's a good point there too. But Fields, former catcher, Bryce Urban, I was telling you that this was one of the more impressive rounds of catcher defense that we had seen, I think, this winter. He's got a huge arm behind the plate that just plays up, like even beyond. I don't have the stat like in front of me, but it was just like an upper 70s throw down to second base, but it plays up because it's really quick through the transfer. It was accurate. It's just a strong arm, you can tell, and he can really catch by all accounts. I just thought defensively this looked great. And then, like I said, I didn't get to see a ton of the hitting, but then when you look at him metrically, he's a right-handed hitter with strength. It just seemed like it checked those boxes too. So it's like all of a sudden he has this very high floor as a player moving forward. So Fields, if you want to talk a little bit more about Bryce Urban, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, I think you nailed the head just on the defensive breakdown here, and even in game it like backs up. Just seeing a ton of quality reps, receiving the baseball, receiving spin, receiving velo, and on top of like the catch and throw, even last year was. I mean, it certainly ticked up this year. It's 78 and 196 pop time low, but it was certainly playable in game last year, and it's going to be so much more exciting to see like just a more standout, versatile defender behind the plate. But at the plate, there's some pop in the right-handed swing. I mean, there's compact strength in his frame with some twitch, but I think he's going to be able to barrel up some more baseballs. And I mean, he was grinding out at bats last summer, so I kind of expect more of the same from him at the plate too.
Yeah, and easy behind the plate, easy pop times, like not trying to rush it, repeats it, and then he's really good during the pitching portion of the event as well, receiving baseballs, blocking baseballs. Looked good, looked like a real asset behind the dish, which is rare in high school. It really is. Yeah,
it always stands out when you're able to kind of like see that in person, like just kind of against one another. There were actually quite a few like catchers that felt like they deserved some praise defensively at this event, but Urban kind of separated himself from the rest of the pack and I mean that in a very good way, because it did feel like a competitive group of catchers defensively, and Urban
right.
kind of when you stacked them kind of next to each other, his catch and throw kind of felt just a little bit different. Like he did well there to kind of separate himself from the group and really from the rest of the winter, like I had mentioned too. But he's got a brother. Vinny, do you have Tyler Urban's kind of notes in front of you as well? Just because it looked like he graded out pretty well across the board too.
Yeah, so this was impressive. This was an impressive look from Tyler. So it's a middle infield profile. There's going to be more size and strength coming as well. So I mean, this kid is athletic. And I do think this, it was a little, maybe potentially just a little bit, some room to grow in terms of the run time. But I think he's going to get there just because of how, athletic that he is, and his ability just to kind of be twitchy all around the field. I think there is going to be some room to grow there, and he will get there. But yeah, you like what you saw from the bat, from that right-handed swing. Kid that has got a super high ceiling as well. So another Kakana player.
Yeah. And then lastly here, do you want to talk about Bennett Geithner Fields, if you got some notes in front of you on Bennett?
Yeah, I mean, Bennett, it seems seemingly a little new to high-end travel baseball. I know he was playing for a Quad City area team last year, but another football player. He's big, he's physical, he's athletic. There's some two-way ability here as well. It's a clean right-handed swing with up to 100-mile-an-hour EVs with some really good blast metrics, hand speed, bat speed, on-play metrics. And then on the mound, it's 3 pitches with mid-80s velo. I mean, athletically, you can see it working on the field, both at the plate and on the mound, just with the movements. And, I mean, it just adds another guy to a Kakana roster that, I mean, they already have a lot of seniors, and we're talking about 5 juniors that, weren't really on the roster, weren't really factors last year. So yeah, this is going to be really exciting this spring for them.
Yeah, I think you called it out like perfectly there. It's like with Geithner, it just felt like a really interesting name to kind of follow along. Like if he contributes at all to Kaukauna this spring, I feel like that's just going to be like a huge win for them. Like, it kind of remains to be seen because the tools here are interesting. It's just like, if with some more reps, I'm just kind of curious like how this comes along. It's like the perfect ingredients to be someone who really like kind of explodes like a year from now or something, because maybe there's some inconsistencies here in certain areas, certain metrics, but that being said, it's like he's a 7 flat runner with 100-mile-an-hour EVs, and it was really interesting on the mound. It's a really interesting package of a prospect. So it just adds to Kaukana's outlook here. So I'm excited to kind of sink our teeth into the rest of our preseason coverage because Kaukauna felt like just an early winner from our winter showcase findings. Going into some important weekends here in Madison and then in the Milwaukee area and Franklin. In the next 2 weekends, so I think we'll learn a lot about the season outlooks. But Kaukauna just felt like a one to kind of highlight in the early going here so far. So, and then we'll moving beyond that, moving past Kaukauna, just a couple committed players that were at this event that really stood out. John Zemer just frankly looks like one of the top 2026 hitters in the state. I don't really say that lightly. He has a really, really good right-handed swing. It looked like he just continued to work in the offseason because he made like just the right incremental metric increases in each of these categories that you kind of pay attention to. It was just a strong performance there. Madison Junior College commit, that feels like a perfect fit on paper. And then Aiden Waterstreet, Central Michigan, 2027, left-handed hitter who was on our Future Games team last year. We talked about him kind of extensively in 2025, but again, it kind of looked like he had been exactly who you were hoping you'd get out of this latest performance here in Green Bay. But either of you guys want to just touch on them before we move on to some more of the uncommitted 2027?
Yeah, I just want to touch on Zemer real quick. Well, and Waterstreet, but Zemer, just how loose that swing is, and it was 106 off the bat. Just really impressive how he stays behind the baseball. I'm with you, Andy, too. Like, this seems like one of the better right-handed hitters in the entire state, regardless of class, just because of how minimal that head is moving. This is a good get, another good get by Madison Junior College. As they continue to do so, Hall of Famer coach there at Madison JUCO, Dav. Shout out to Davenport, but
shout out Dav.
And then Waterstreet. I love the fact how he backed up. First of all, we were so impressed with his ability to stay poised in his look at the future games. A lot of times we see the guys that not necessarily on a big stage for any part of their career in terms of, some of the programs they're playing for. But a lot of times we see those guys just kind of be a little bit blinded by the bright lights of the future games. He wasn't. And then he goes ahead and backs up that performance at the future games, which is awesome. With this performance here, exit velocities well over 100 miles per hour, really clean swing, just a lot of the same things we liked about him, but just a little bit bigger, stronger, and faster, right? Yep. So that's kind of the takeaway for Waterstreet. Both these kids, Zemer and Waterstreet, have a bright future at that next level.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Fields, anything you want to add to that? I think.
I remember you and I, Andy, at the Wisconsin State games this past year talking about John Zemer's performance this summer, and I think Mike Davenport might have also been a part of that conversation. Mm-hmm. So seeing him again this with an updated look, just look the part of just frankly in the middle of the order bat at the next level, and 100% can or has a shot at sticking in the infield and especially at third with the hands, and the frame continues to evolve with John too, so there's going to be a lot of eyes on him as he's throughout junior college.
Yeah, again, I think it's such a great fit. Like him moving to Madison Junior College just feels like, because it seems like he could use a little bit of reps work at the defensive side of things, but I don't say that to kind of suggest that he's got no chance to play third base or anything like that, because that's not the case at all. Because it's just it would be tremendous for him and his like future opportunities at 4 years. If he can be a college third baseman, which I know Fields, you definitely think that's in the cards, then all of a sudden I think we have a pretty exciting player to watch as he grows in college, John Zemer. So two takeaways there from those committed kids. But we'll move on to some of the uncommitted 2027, spend a little bit more time in this group, because it was a pretty impressive group. I think right off the top of the bat, like either one of you guys want to talk about the two-way from Hortonville, a lot of Hortonville kids here. But Garrett Smith, I thought, just like stat to stat, like kind of across the board, like both on the mound and offensively. If you're just reading like the stat sheet, he completely stuffed the staff sheet, Garrett Smith. We can kind of go through that one by one, but just right off the top, if one of you guys want to take the lead on talking a little bit about Garrett's performance here, that'd be huge.
Yeah. Up then. Oh, go ahead, Fields.
I mean, Garrett Smith was another guy that, frankly, broke out at this event last year. It was a, left-handed hitter, right-handed thrower on the mound up to 88 with feel, and the tools seemingly ticked up again this winter. I mean, I've said that again, but 100-mile-an-hour max EVs, 91 arm, 7-1 runner at 6'4" with some strength and, frankly, more room to add. Also, 3 pitches on the mound with some feel to. I mean, it looked good. It looked clean.
Yep.
It's downhill. I mean, my goodness, it's like but a lot of times you see these guys with such a high slot kind of like have a huge head duck and a huge head pull, a little bit stiff through release, and he's not. He's like smooth, easy, free. Upton, we round up on this podcast. 89.5 is, I'm calling that a 90. I know a lot of people don't, but yeah, and then multiple pitches to go with it. So, yeah. I mean, 86th ranked player in the state probably bumps up a little bit after this look.
Yeah, I think, and Field, you referenced this, but just athletically, it's pretty special. Like when you have a player that size, 194 pounds, something like that. 167 10-yard split is really good, especially for that size. 7'10" 60 is great for that size. Like if anything, even if he's not a position player prospect, which it's very possible he still is, like we like him a lot on the mound. But just that athleticism kind of gives you some insight and into his potential, like, maybe aptitude for learning some things, adjusting some things mechanically, maybe learning, how to spin differently or whatever it is. Like, I think athleticism always gives you a little bit more of cushion to kind of make some of those changes on the fly, whether it's in college or beyond. So Garrett Smith, one of the top, I think, uncommitted 2027s we've seen so far in the state, worth definitely looking into a little bit more if you're a college coach. Listening to this podcast kind of in search of some projects, I guess. I think Garrett Smith kind of fills that role of just a player that you have a lot to work with there on both sides of the ball. But I think Owen Royland is in a similar place. I feel like you got the chance to see Owen quite a bit in the summer, last summer. Do you want to talk a little bit about maybe how this performance contrasted to some of the live looks last year?
Yeah, I mean, Owen's just kind of a gamer. It's a real two-way skill set. I think he's an infielder. It's a clean right-handed swing with some pop and some strength to it. And then on the mound, obviously, it's multiple pitches up to 90 with feel for the zone. I mean, he was a performer at the state games. We really liked him there. Mm-hmm. I remember really liking him from this event last year, filling up the zone a lot. And I mean, he's repeating it again. Feel for his secondaries, his off-speed, throw it in the zone while there's a really good upside fastball here. I mean, it's kind of a lively pitch with some, carry and run to it, but there's some plane to it out of the hand. There's some spin efficiency. It's efficient. So just another high quality look at it, another two-way from kind of the same area as Hortonville, I guess.
Yeah,
impressive look on the mound for sure. It can really spin a breaking ball. It's got both. It's a two-planer too, right? It's got some depth and some horizontal. But then that swing is so, it's like super balanced, kind of really simple. Just kind of picks up his foot, puts it down, and then was just literally all over the barrel the entire round. I mean, it was a good look on both sides. I mean, I know I kind of like tend to, kind of favor one over the other typically with most of these players. But, I mean, it's splitting hairs here between, if he's going to end up on the mound or as a position guy.
Yeah, and I think the game power, like the fact that he has legitimate, like, in-person, proven kind of game power, and we saw it in Green Bay, but we saw it in 2025 just across, tournaments and live looks. I think that always, you try to look through one lens, like this is just the showcase look. We're not trying to factor in too many of these outside, viewings here and there. But, when you really add some of those things up, like in those past evaluations, like up to what he did most recently, it just kind of helps paint the full picture of it's just hard to hit home runs in game, but Owen Royland is one of those that it just kind of comes a little bit more naturally to him. He's that strength that he has. He's just able to utilize that a little bit better than some others inside the batter's box when it really counts, when the lights are on. So, great latest look, updated look at Owen. We'll talk about his brother a little bit later too. One of the top 2029s in the state. But before we get there, we'll still stick to this path of 2027s, uncommitted 27s in the state. Fields, we're huge fans of Ethan Hellengreen, but you are a huge fan in particular of him, of Nina, their outlook kind of moving forward. But I'll let you kind of take it away with Ethan just because I know just all in all, I mean, it was one of the pound for pound best performances of the Green Bay ID, but I think you can do a little bit better by painting that full picture like we've been talking about.
Yeah, I mean, athletically, Ethan might be one of the, up towards the upper echelon of prospects here, but I mean, throughout his prep career, we've seen him play a bunch of positions, including catcher, shortstop, and outfield, as well as, be a legitimate prospect on the mound. Like this kid has a bunch of different tool sets that continue to elevate. And I mean, last summer there was a lot of hard contact, a lot of performance in front of our staff, and just the tools, the EVs, the run time. It points to a lot of future success at the plate as a position player, whether it's defensively in the infield or the outfield. Which I mean, personally, with my looks, I think he can do both. Whatever whoever gives him the shot to play the infield, I think he can do it. And then if it doesn't work out, like the outfield is more than in the cards there. It's on top of the fact that he's just 88 clean, 88 with stuff. And he's a breaking ball and a changeup as well. Like one of the top athletes in the class.
Yep.
And he's super physical, right? I mean, we thought he was physical last year with room to grow, and he still he looks like there's room to grow, even though he got a little bit bigger and more physical. I think he's up to 184. Last year he had him at 177 or something, but it's I didn't memorize that. Don't worry. It was just on the website here, but multiple positional and two-way skill sets here. So we've been a fan of Hellengreen's for a while, and look, really, this is one of those spring performances that I'm really looking forward to paying attention to here, as to how he's going to perform this spring for Nina.
Yeah, just then to round it up, because we were kind of alluding to the stats here, the metrics here, but just he ran a 6.89. 103 mile an hour max exit with above average bat speed at least. Fields mentioned he was up to 88 on the mound, and then the curveball spin, which is still I guess you could say harnessing, but for the most part, I mean, the point is it's very few players can spin a 2,600 RPM breaking ball to begin with, and he does. So just having that trait kind of separates himself from the rest of this group. So. All in all, you just don't see too many players with this kind of skill set and that athleticism and physicality, like Vinny alluded to as well. So with that, he just earned himself, I think, a ton more attention. We're already huge fans of him coming into this event, so it was awesome to see, just the fact that he was able to utilize the offseason, really, really effectively, seemingly. So. A couple more. Another Nina kid, Jackson Mayer. I don't know, Vinny, was he on your mind? It's possible, the lefty. If you want to talk about him, because I just, paying attention to him from kind of afar, it just looked like one of the more interesting pitchers, just pound for pound of the day.
Yeah, I was a little bit blown away by what I was watching, just in terms of how clean, fluid, easy that delivery is. There's a little bit of a back arch over the mound. Just kind of sitting into his back heel a little bit, but he pulls it back and kind of utilizes that move to really load into that back hip, and then just it delivers all that force down the mound, and then just impressive how he's able to get through the baseball from the left side. You don't typically see kids. Anytime you see a lefty with this loose of a delivery, and it's up to 86 miles per hour with a breaking ball and a changeup, and then strikes to go with it, your ears just perk up. They do. Your eyebrows raise, and you're like, okay, this kid is gonna be really good. And that's just kind of the takeaway from Jackson Meyer. It was a loud pen, even though the velo was at 86. It just, the way that he was getting to it was what you take note of for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was really in on that as well. I remember Jackson Mayer throughout last year. It was only 79, upper 70s, touching 80, but there was a lot of strikes. And I mean, looking at him and looking at what we measured him at, there's a 20-pound weight increase here. So yeah, this kid really got after it in the offseason, and it's really showing out. The stuff across the board is really ticked up, and the same amount of strikes are there as well.
Nice. Yep. Feel the same way. And like another lefty here that I know he wasn't on our mound, any of our mounds, but Braden Hermes from Kimberly, another one of the top athletes here, just kind of does it all, like in the same way as like Helen Green in a sense, because he's pretty strong, physical, but like there's clearly more like upside there, like physically as he continues to just grow and mature. But the changeup was like one of the better changeups I think we saw this entire winter. And it feels, I don't know if you want to like just talk a little bit more about like the pitch metrics and stuff, but the point being it's a left-handed swing, and it's kind of like it's like probably not calling it crude is like not the right word, but it's just a little bit more physical, like kind of like strength over
some rawness here.
Yeah, but like clearly the athleticism I think is like the thing like that you point to, like, so it's like he's gonna hit in high school. And then on the mound, it's sort of a different story in that, like, I'm just really interested in it on the mound because it's kind of a unique look, unique slot, and then the changeup, like, kind of plays all of that up. Like, it's really complements the rest of the stuff that he has. So he's just kind of one arm that I have, like, my eye on this spring because it feels like he's like has the right mix of stuff that just kind of intrigues like college coaches. He just feels like he'd be a tough at bat, like from either batter's box.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I know that there's a history of strikes here as well, and like you had mentioned, the changeup, and Hermes doesn't have like this super carry fastball. It's more of the sinking profile fastball, but there's still even vertical separation from the sinker to the changeup here. So in a vacuum, it can play up by itself against both right-handed and left-handed hitters. I mean, it's got upwards of -4 IVB on it, as well as some, 11 and a half inches of run on top of it. The slider is also, you can say and speak about it in the same breath. I mean, spinning at over 2,200 in the mid 70s with two-plane action that with a lot of horizontal movement on that. So I mean, it may only be 81 to 84 right now, but he's got options against both right-handed and left-handed hitters, and even just, I mean, the changeup and slider could get a really quality hitter out in college right now.
Yeah.
Ready for my comp? Taylor Rogers.
Taylor Rogers.
So the lefty. I mean, just kind of a similar slot, the way he gets through the baseball. There's arm quickness here. There's going to be more velocity as he continues to get more physical as well. So, and I felt bad because he waited in line for like 45 minutes to hit. And I said, we're not hitting left-handed hitters yet. So we went over to defense and showed out well at first base, and then came back to hit some rockets during the hitting portion of the event. But, very interesting two-way talent here.
Yeah. And then what I accidentally skipped over him in our notes here, but just one other 2027 I wanted to speak to. Luke Heimrel from Fox Valley Lutheran, catcher. Vinny, if you have your notes pulled out, I'd just be curious because he's another one that took one of the top defensive rounds at catcher for me, just in front of us while we were running defense. Was like a taller catcher too, but like really felt like he was super mobile behind the plate, like athletic, and like the arm strength played up, like, which is an area of like improvement, but like the fact that he's already a pretty efficient like mover, catch and throw and stuff, from behind the plate just right now at present, like I think tells one story, and like just shows kind of what the ceiling could look like. But metrically, too, it looked like it was a pretty solid swing, with some impact. But if you have something to just quickly add on Heimerl, that might sum things up for him, too.
Yeah, anytime you get a guy that is, like I said, I mean, there was a lot of solid catching performances here, but this was a really, really impressive one. And then the fact that he can barrel up a baseball at will, hitting rockets throughout the round, that's what you can – hang your hat on, the fact that this kid can do both. And again, like anytime you can find a profile that a guy is a defensive guy, but also can really hit, and you can tell that this is going to be quality at bat type of a profile with ability to kind of spray the ball to all fields and hit extra base hits, doubles, triples. You're gonna find a guy that is gonna be highly sought after.
Yeah, and then when you just pair the frame with it too, I mean, he's 6'1", 172, hitting these EVs with the clean movements behind the plate. Like you can just project on that as he gets into college and as he starts to fill in more. So like it's a really good base of the prospect here, but there's a lot more that you can dream on as he matures.
Yeah, and a 6'9" runner, which I think it kind of just tells you it's not like a traditional catcher in the sense of like it's just one dimensional, I guess. But like when you're like a 6'9" runner, 6'1", 175 roughly, physical, but also can move like that, I think that helps kind of underscore just how like athletic he is behind the plate, and the upside he has there defensively, as well as like the projection that I think you can offer inside the right-handed batter's box too. So definitely wanted to mention Heimerl before we kind of moved on. But I mean, there's a ton more 2027s we could talk about, but we'll kind of save that for our quick hit story, which is published live on our website.
Before we get back into it, we need to tell you about a big upgrade here at Prep Baseball. If you're serious about stepping up your recruitment, we just revamped our Prospect Plus subscription, and it's a game changer. Prospect Plus now lets you upload your own videos directly to your profile, so your best swings, innings, defensive highlights are front and center where college coaches are already looking. New this year, you also receive a $100 showcase credit built right in. On top of that, you still get all the Prep Baseball Plus features, including access to a sortable college database across every division, school tracker tools, and advanced search filters to find the right fit. You can manage your profile, track schools, organize your recruiting calendar, and access coach contact information all in one place. And yes, you can download your videos at any time. Bottom line, Prospect Plus is built for athletes who want more control, more exposure, and recruiting tools that actually matter. Head to prepbaseballreport.com to subscribe. Now, let's get back to the show.
We're just going to move on, kind of start to talk a little bit more about the underclassmen, starting with the 2028s in attendance, because there were some really good ones within that group. And the 2029s, just kind of wanted to introduce you guys to some of the freshmen in the state that could, make some varsity impacts as soon as this spring. So interested to see that and see how that plays out. But we'll start first with Ian Justman from Ashwaubenon. A couple Ashwaubenon guys here worth mentioning, but Justman feels like a good place to start. Maybe Vinny, if you have some notes on Justman in front of you, but like metrically, he was one of the top 28s in attendance, it felt like.
I mean, anytime you get a 2028, a sophomore, banging the ball 99 miles per hour off the bat, it's you're gonna take note for sure. Super duper athletic, like really athletic with a frame that's gonna fill out. Love this left-handed swing. I mean, smooth, easy, but at the same time, like there's some twitch here, right? So. Really impressive look from him, 85 from the outfield velocity as well, also a 6.99 runner. So really impressive from Ian Justman, the 2028 from Ashwaubenon.
Yeah, it feels like there's some ability here to launch the baseball too, just based on some of these like distances that he's putting together. Just for a player his age and size and stuff, it just kind of feels like he could be someone who really, translates some of this stuff efficiently in game. So I'm wondering if he can. Hit some homers.
Yeah, and we've actually already seen some of that. I'm not sure if you remember that, Andy, but yeah, I've definitely seen him launch some baseballs over at the Rock, and I mean, he was a guy that I know I texted you about at I think it was the 15U weekend. That was just I think I saw 3 or 4 games of Jeremy Madison, and he was middle of the order hitter, and every single at bat, it was productive at bat on the barrel, hard contact. So glad to see that it's ticking up, and it's still passing the eye test, and it's going to be something that, I mean, we were talking about Kakana before, and I remember looking through this event and seeing 4 or 5 Ashwaubenon kids that were also really intriguing as well.
Yeah. No, I think I remember the video you're referencing. It was at on Pirates Field, right?
Yep.
It was just a nuke. Yep. Ian Justman. Yeah. So that's awesome that he was able to kind of like pair some of these in-game performances with a really, really strong performance. He might have been one of the top 2028s that we graded at this event, which is saying a lot. So Ian Justman, outfielder, left-handed hitter from Ashwaubenon. Next up here, just a solid all-around performance from Hank Nutzel from Wasaki. I don't think we had seen him before right field. This might have been his first event. It could be a mistake in there, but I mean,
first event, yeah.
Yeah, it just was a great first impression to make, just kind of like from station to station. Right-handed hitter, just like kind of a simple swing, pretty like steady, flat, kind of through the zone. Felt like a bat to ball type swing, but he's strong. Got some athleticism 2-2. Related to Paul Nutzel, I'm pretty sure I asked if it was his brother. I'm pretty sure it is, despite going to different high schools. But Nutzel just came away as like a 2028 in the class that we definitely need to pay closer attention to.
Yeah, just let me add in real quick, because he was on my mound, and then I distinctly remember this round of batting practice.
Yeah.
Little bit of a Javi Baez type of a swing here, just in terms of how that hand trigger worked. Like really like rhythmic hand trigger when he gets to foot launch. And I'm not even doing these comps to make Jason Birkin and Eric Cordier laugh. Like sometimes these little like reminders of just like how that's a natural move that you really can't teach. How that little hand trigger as he's going forward gets to the slot consistently, and then dude was 100 off of the bat. Like, and I remember him on the mound. I was like, all right, like it was like 80 to 81, and then I remember Jason was like, just let it eat, and it was like up to 84.
Oh yeah,
so yeah, and he was just like encouraging him to just a little more intent. Didn't need that encouragement off the bat because the intent was there, and dude was hitting rockets. Not that I was surprised by those exit velos, but there's strength here, and there's a lot more coming. I mean, this kid is he's not that big and physical of a kid, and yet he was up to 84 and then 100.
Yeah, no, I think it was one of the rounds I did end up seeing, and it just felt like a really easy upper 90s EV. Like it was impressive. Like whenever you see kind of like the effortless, substantial exit velocities and stuff, that always kind of makes it feel a little extra memorable. So definitely Hank Nutzel comes away from this as a follow for sure in the 2028s. We were plenty familiar, though, with Clay Maxim from West of Pier, two-way player, but we really like it on the mound. He's such an athletic, fluid mover on the mound, right-handed pitcher, up to 86, I believe, and from the right side. I don't know if you got to see it, but like it, I know we have just been fans of it in the past. Like he played for West of Pier's Legion team, I think, in the summer of last year. So the refs against like some of like these, whatever you want to call them, high talent, whatever, travel programs, whatever it might be. I mean, I personally, I think that's totally fine. Like he's got plenty of time to catch up with those refs against like, the best players in the country, whatever it is. But to me, talent-wise, he just fits right in. We're really high on him just as a prospect overall. But just within the data fields, if you want to talk a little bit about Maxim and maybe this performance, that might help just contextualize, how he separates himself from the rest of the 2028s in the state.
Yeah, I mean, going into leading off with the arm first. I mean, it's a clean 6'1" with is he still about 155 pounds? There's just a ton of room to add up to that frame. I mean, he was averaging 85 with a fastball throughout the event. It was a pretty firm, lively two-seam action with some feel for the zone as well. There was also feel to throw a advanced slider in the zone that, he was throwing hard. That's going to get some swing and miss no matter what the profile is. And there was feel to turn over a changeup as well. I remember from last year's state games that there wasn't this amount of polish and feel on the mound. And this was just one of the biggest takeaways, I guess. Just similar to Carson Lyset, just how clean and how much more feel for the arsenal he had.
and I forgot which bullpen I was watching on my mound, but I looked over at Maxim's bullpen. I was like, okay, this kid's going to be a stud. Already is, but like how quick that arm is through the baseball. And then, like, I'll just say this, like, he's got the Cal Schneider haircut like coming through. So that to me is a plus on the mound. So that's an intimidating look on the mound for sure.
That's what
I think that's a natural hair color for Clay though. Cal dyes his.
you know, I think Cal, if you're listening, you've always had an intimidating presence on the mound. To be honest,
Seriously.
So that's your MO. Your MO, the intimidator.
We're gonna get all Wisconsin pitchers.
Cal,
I think it's the goggles.
Yeah.
Trying to throw that out.
No, yeah, Cal's a stud. But Clay, yeah, the arm speed, and then Fields. I think you put it perfectly into like he weighs 100 and whatever it is, 55 pounds, and he's mid 80s, like without much effort, which we kind of always talk about, but there's a reason for it. It just feels like that if you're waiting for the velo to pop, it's like I'm not really worried about it because it will like sooner than later. It's just all these other things that he does that help him kind of look the part as one of the top, two-way players, but definitely pitchers, I think, in this 2028 class. So Clay Maxim, West Appear, really feels like somebody who could, leapfrog into one of the top prospects in the state at any kind of moment. So we'll be paying attention to Clay as we have been. But Braden Sprague from Bayport, this felt like a coming out party. I think he was on our colleague Stefan's mound. But Fields, I'll let you kind of pull up some of the metrics here just because this was one of the top performances. He pitched pretty early. I saw like a good chunk of it, maybe half of the pen that he threw. I was really impressed, and then I realized that he was at 2028, and I was even more impressed. But I don't have his like metrics right up in front of me here, but I think he was in the mid 80s, and he was a bigger kid, looked easy. He was repeating through strikes. Like I was like, okay, well, this event was already productive if we have this kid throwing one of the first pens of the day. But if you want to talk a little bit more on that, Fields, you can kind of sum up what separated him from some of these other kids.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, just being a 28, locating 3 pitches in the zone is, enough of a separator. But when you dig into the data and you see, okay, 16.2 inches of ride with some run on the fastball, the spin efficiency is around 90, but that actually has some really good correlations to being able to, get to a lot of different shapes in your arsenal. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's feel to throw a mid 70s breaking ball. I mean, it's short 2-plane action, but there's shorter action. A lot of times you can throw that in the zone a lot more, and he proved that repeatedly throughout the look. And there's a fading changeup off the fastball as well. I mean, it was 3 pitches, strikes throughout the pen. A lot of stuff to like about with the secondaries, and honestly, like 2028, 100, still under 170 pounds at 6'1". Like he's going to continue to add. There's going to be continued jumps, and I mean, he's looking at his profile. He's not even 16 yet.
Yeah, I was gonna say he kind of like strike you kind of like having done this for a while and like Fields, Vinny, I'm sure you guys were the same way. It's like you kind of know when someone's gonna be like 6'5". Like I don't know, he feels like he's gonna be humongous. Just standing around him, he was like listed at 6'1", but when I was walking by him next to him or something, I was like, I just felt like he was already like 5 inches taller than me or something like that. Like it just feels like that's coming soon. And if he's already, throwing 84, he's up to 84.4. It was his fastball max. It feels like it's just really the flagging what's to come down the road here and not too far away either. But it was just the feel for multiple pitches, like strike feel. Feels is totally right here about like the fastball shape. Like there was some rise, there was some run, and there's just some versatility to it. So all in all, this was a huge takeaway in my opinion from the day. Braden Sprague, Bayport, just one of the top 2028 right-handers all of a sudden in the class. So like we'll continue to monitor how he grows. Another Ashwaubenon kid here, Fields, Ethan Hanneman, is that right?
Yeah.
You're in our shared sheet. Okay, I was just making sure. You were editing our shared sheet. I was like scared that I messed up.
Yeah, you just had one too many N's in Ethan Hanneman's name. Yeah.
How dare you?
I did you dirty there, Ethan. Yeah, if you want to talk a little bit about Ethan, because like you mentioned, he was one of several Ashwaubenon kids. Ian Justman, Ethan Hanneman. It seems like there's a pretty bright future brewing for this group. And here's another one.
I mean, yeah, he's just another long-levered, projectable, still even at 195-pound right-hander. I mean, there's feel for three pitches. There's a mid-80s fastball with some life and some playing about the out of the hand with. I mean, the slider really projects as a really good secondary. I mean, not just in high school, but even beyond. It's 75, 76 with some action, glove side action, and like enough strikes. It's around the zone. I mean, you don't really need to throw your breaking balls around the zone, and a lot of strikes. I mean, you're going to try to locate these out of the zone as well. And then, the changeup is just a different pitch off the fastball as well. And he's the slider kind of blended into the curveball, but I mean, there's three pitches. It's different enough, and he's throwing it in the mid 70s. It's going to get outs. It's going to perform in the high school season. It's going to even perform projecting out in the college.
And these last two guys, first time we've seen them in event, right? And I love when guys just show up between like Braden Sprague and Ethan Hanneman, 2028s, and just kind of like, okay, we're here, and they're going to be here to stay. And Hanneman is you want the comp from me here?
Yeah, no, I'm ready. We're rolling with it now.
Vince Bitter. We got a comp to another player.
Vince Bitter.
Vince Bitter comp, yeah.
It's a really good comp.
Should I be like, oh man, I'm going to sound so old right now. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It's going to be, does this make Vince Bitter onk?
You did sound so old.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh my gosh.
No, I know. I've never done it before, so I just figured I could embarrass myself. I have I have a kid now, so I could just be a lame dad.
Dad jokes, yeah. Love it.
We love dad jokes here, though.
So two other 2028s, because I want to make sure we get to talk about these 2029s a little bit. But Noah Chervenka from Luxembourg Casco, Aiden Steffes from another Appleton North kid, two other kids that I just want to reference. We highlighted them in our quick hit store, unless you guys want to chime in on them. We definitely elaborated on their performance in our quick hit story. But there were even more 2028s that we talked about inside that piece. So you can just visit our website to learn a little bit more about them. But before we move on, is there anybody else you guys want to talk about within this 2028 class, or should we just kind of head to the 2029s?
I think we should jump to the 29s. I mean, unless Fields has something, but there's so many kids here, guys, that we just. And I know we say this almost every single episode, but it's like we want to talk about literally practically every single player that we see at these showcases, but we got to move on. There's so much talent, and we love how these kids are just – and I say it in my speech every single year or every single showcase is like these kids are playing and performing and training with kind of that Wisconsin chip on their shoulder, and I just love to see it because we're seeing these big jumps from these guys, and, we're not going to touch on everybody, but it's just like just go to that quick hit story and you're going to see like how high we are on a lot of these players.
Yep. All right, good. Well, I totally agree. So let's just and we're not going to spend too much time on the 2029s just because this is a group. These freshmen in the state, they're just kind of finding their feet, getting like ready to hopefully make an impact on varsity, which is always fun just to see which of these guys kind of emerge and just able to compete for a spot in varsity, which isn't expected. There are a ton of variables, but if they are, that makes things like that much more exciting. So for the 2029s, Fields, you probably mentioned Porter Meach 5 times in event, and I couldn't be more in and excited. So I'm just going to let you talk about Porter Meach as long as you want to here. From Xavier, 2-way player, as physical as you can get, and he looked good on both sides of the ball. So from there, you fill us in.
Yeah, I mean, you already filled in on the frame. I mean, it's 6 foot 175 and super physical. 6'1", sorry, Porter. But I mean, it looked like this kid was just muscled up even as a freshman, which is just very, very that's not the norm. Like a lot of these guys, there's still a lot of physical development yet, and Porter Meach showing up at almost 200 pounds of just straight muscle, and I mean, he started out the day on the mound, and I mean, it was downhill with life, playing out of the hand, and just, I mean, if you were in the box, I think his fastball was sitting. It averaged 83 miles an hour throughout the pen. If you were sitting in the box, it was probably looking like it was 85, 86 with just kind of just this demon sinker shape to it, as well as, I mean, there's another short wrinkle slider there that he's throwing at upwards of 77 miles an hour that, if he's just landing in the zone, that's going to be hard for anybody to hit, as well as another fading changeup that's thrown with intent off the fastball as well. And, there's, I mean, on the mound, it could be really special just with how it moves, how the frame looks, and how the arm works. And then he's no slouch at the plate either. There's a lot of physicality. There's a lot of impact. It's 99 EVs with some feel for the barrel. It's a strong barrel, strong swing. So, yeah.
This is a Kyle Farnsworth comp for me. I mean, with how big and physical and just like it's an angry heater coming out of the hand. And super long levers, high-waisted kid that has got so much strength in that lower half and utilizes his lower half exceptionally well down the mound. So, and I agree. He can impact the baseball at the plate.
Kyle Farnsworth is
it's a pretty good comp. You know it.
What did he do? Did Kyle Farnsworth drop kick somebody in the?
Yeah, he got him. He got in multiple fights.
Yeah. Which I don't think that's what we're saying, Porter. So.
No.
We're comping the ability.
And what a great baseball name too, Porter Meach.
Porter Meach,
right?
Yep,
great baseball name.
No, but this was, and I didn't even get the chance. I'm like watching it in real time. I didn't watch a ton of his like pitching right here, but this is pretty special. And then I did see him hit though before, and I think this is probably one of, we're still kind of getting our bearings ourselves on like this 2029 class, but it feels like he is going to be pretty highly ranked. I don't know. I don't want to count like our eggs here before we figure out what the rest of this class looks like, but I think he's checking as many boxes as any other 2029 in the state right now. So Porter Meach, kind of a rare talent right now, physicality, upside, all of the above, just present metrics. Definitely wanted to lead off the bat with him, but another 2029 that we're even more familiar with, Robert Perez, already one of the top 2029s in the state, left-handed hitter, outfielder, pitcher, left-handed pitcher as well. I don't know where to begin with Robert Perez. I mean, he's already kind of like a semi-popular name, famous name inside the state, just because, I think I could say this. He plays with a little flair. Robert, he makes an impression. Yeah. He's a presence in the dugout. He's fun to be around. So if you want to talk a little bit about him, Vinny, what you saw about him, I guess during BP. I don't know if he was he in your?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He's a gamer. No, he's gamer, and he showed up in the fall and was kind of a little bit, I would say, disappointed with his performance in the box. I think he was just kind of missing the barrel a little bit, but then he showed up on March 1st to Green Bay Preseason ID. It was good. It was better than good. It was really impressive. The ability just to get to a 94 max exit velocity, and it's not all about max exit velo because we've seen this kid hit in game. We're impressed with him down at the JFGs down at Lake Point at the end of July last summer, and it was just it's just a ticked up body, ticked up frame. This kid's going to be big and strong. Marcus, his dad, is you wouldn't want to meet him in an alley if he's mad at you, right? Because a gentle giant type of a guy, but like Robert's going to be just as big as his dad, if not bigger, and ball jumps off his bat. He's got a clean left-handed swing. Love what he can do from the outfield. Plays first base. But on the mound is up to 84. I mean, just a lot of boxes that I think he wanted to check. He went ahead and checked them. So, I agree with the personality as well and his ability to just kind of ball out when the lights go on.
Yeah, you can back it up. And Tyler Deffenbaugh, he was, he works primarily in Illinois, but obviously we kind of share staffs and we see each other all the time and talk all the time. But he was at this event. He was on the mound that Robert pitched on, and he couldn't say more positive things about the performance there. And then, you translate that over to this reputation he's kind of already earned as like this advanced hitter. It's like approach plus, power plus like all this, not plus power, but on top of like these other traits, characteristics that he brings to the batter's box. He's, continues to be just kind of the latest in what's, I'm sure going to be a really Good, just long high school career. Robert Perez, like get to know him if you don't already. But Caleb Royland, another kid. This is Owen's brother, Appleton North. I mean, they're very similar, to be honest. And Caleb, maybe he benefits from being the younger brother, following in Owen's footsteps, just because they're similar in that, like, Caleb feels like he's almost on the heels of Owen in some ways, just because he's really, really good in his own right. I bet he can kind of hold his own in some of the same ways that Owen is already performing in. So, I mean, we identified him as one of the top 29s in the state, last year already. But, Fields, you got to see him more in-game yourself. But do you want to talk about, like, that in-game stuff, and then kind of, like, take what we saw from Green Bay and kind of add the two together?
Yeah, in-game last year, Caleb it was a really clean right-handed swing, really clean on the mound. Also defensively at short, second, third, wherever he played, it was standout. But I mean, on Sunday there was just a lot of tools coming out of Caleb where, I mean, frankly they're just advanced tools. The run time 7.24 are pretty advanced for the class, especially for a 29 infielder two-way. On top of the fact that it's 98 EVs with a 91 average, and like I had said, I mean, the defense plays, and we know that it's going to continue to play. I mean, I'm just curious now on Caleb whether he's going to be on varsity, so I could see him this spring, or if I have to see it in the summer.
Appleton North, make a note.
This kid, guys, was. It's hard to say because there's so many impressive performances at this event, but I think this was my favorite. I mean, This kid was so good on the mound.
It's a really good favorite.
Yeah, it's a great.
I mean, so good on the mound, and then he shows up in the box during the hitting portion, and I was like, what? And I think we were having some kind of like a couple issues with the blast. It started, I think, with his round of batting practice.
Owen, actually, one of the two.
Okay, but either way, I was like, my goodness, this swing works. It really, really works. Super repeatable, short, compact, and all kinds of hand and bat speed.
Mm-hmm.
So just was launching balls to left center, really all over the field.
Yeah.
So really, really good.
Yeah, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, Fields, but I mean, that's kind of what he was doing at our tournaments in the summer and fall. Like, I just felt like he has like this natural kind of just like Owen. Like, it's just a very similar swing and profile where it's just like he's strong and he has like the swing that kind of like is perfectly fit for like just carrying some balls over the fence, basically. Like, it feels like he has that type of swing too.
Yeah, I mean, going into the swing, it's super quiet, not a lot of hand movement pre-pitch, quiet head. I mean, it's a lot of just good things that will help you really deliver the barrel consistently and repeat. So, I mean, added more strength this year, and it's more of the same with more impact. So he's trending like big arrow up here.
Yep. Another huge arrow up, I think, Trent Demuse, left-handed pitcher, just a big, strong kid who made some really loud right-handed contact offensively. I think it's fair to just kind of like be higher on him as a pitcher just because he's left-handed and he throws a ton of strikes, and he was up to, 84 or something like that. But he's just a big, strong kid who repeats, strikes, there's secondary feel. But, he was one of the top-ranked pitchers in the state in the 29 class. And, if anything, he's kind of like, I think, made himself even more interesting as a name to continue to follow in the state moving forward. But, anything you guys want to add in on there?
Yeah, just another physical 2029 in this class. I mean, 6'2", 220. A lot of feel on the mound with strikes for 3 pitches. I mean, I don't really know that you have to dig into it much deeper, but also it's good at the plate, right-handed swing. It's a really clean swing.
It was a good swing. Yeah, I did see
and he can play first.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a Jason Lane comp for me, former third base coach for the Brewers. Just because left-handed thrower, right-handed hitter. Jason Lane hit 30 bombs in the big leagues a bunch of years in a row.
Great utility guy, Jason Lane.
Yeah, no doubt.
Could steal a base.
And it's kind and he was a two-way guy as well, so left-handed pitcher as well at the end of his career. But super loose, clean swing. My goodness. I know that he impressed us on the mound more so, I thought, at the junior future games. But here with the bat.
For sure. Yeah, definitely can hit. And he just earned, like, talking to some of the ISA guys when we were kind of like weighing some options and like, who to bring down to the junior future games, and like we'd seen so many of these kids and kind of like splitting hairs, looking at some of the summer stats too. He was super impressive, like statistically on the mound. Obviously, he has the talent, like in terms of like velocity and all this stuff. But I mean, through strikes then clearly looks like in a bullpen setting anyway, like that's kind of carried over into this freshman year. Added velocity, he's huge. It's just like he definitely has all the ingredients here to become like the top left-handed pitcher in the state. If he kind of keeps trending in this direction. So Trent Demuth.
Yeah, just going back into the performance last summer. I mean, he was beating 0-0 counts. He was locating first pitch strikes more often than not. Not a lot of 3-0 counts, and he was converting a strike on 1-1 more often than not. There was a lot of games where he was finishing in around 80 pitches last year. So this is a guy that had a lot of performance and a lot of success last year. He basically forced our hand into coming down to Georgia with us last year. Yeah. Just because of the performances.
And the more it's like we do this Fields, and I'm sure like you can speak to this too, where it's just like, I don't know, that guy more often than not becomes like a pretty good baseball player. And
absolutely.
Usually you're talking about it in the sense of like, okay, this player doesn't throw hard, blah blah blah, but he happens to be, the player that gets the weakest contact or whatever. Like he kind of has like these like lowest ERA or the fewest walks or whatever, and you're like, oh, one day that'll get caught up to. But it's just like the more and more you do this, like the simpler you kind of reduce it down to like the guy who throws the most strikes ends up being the best. But you get to now pair that with someone who's 6'2" and is like 84 from the left side. It's like, oh, comparing those two together, it's like all of a sudden this is like
we got something.
Yeah, let's take this guy really seriously. So Demuth, you can tell we're pretty high on him. He's just a really interesting player on both sides of the ball, but definitely on the mound, like feels like for sure. Bentley Hendrickson, another junior future giver from last year, catcher. I think he had the hardest, if I'm not mistaken, he threw the hardest fastball among these 2029s though. And this was just a great look. I feel you could talk a little bit about him or Vinny, because I think he was one of our first hitters, and it looked like he took a pretty good round of BP as well. But just a ton of takeaways here from Bentley Hendrickson.
Yeah. The takeaway for me is like, okay, he was pretty raw last year when we saw him, and now, I mean, that game is cleaned up quite a bit, right? I mean, it's a clean, repeatable right-handed swing that was all over the barrel throughout the round, and then behind the dish, his pop times were solid last year for an eighth grader. Clearly, I mean, it was close to 2.0, but like now it was like sitting. I think it was under 2 max. Was like
196, 201.
Yeah, 201. I mean, we had him at like 225 last year at times. So it's like that's cleaned up. That's gotten quicker and more repeatable behind the dish. On the mound, like really, really cleaned some things up and really driving the ball downhill from that shorter arm arc. This kid went from raw and interesting to, okay, let's go ahead and make sure that we are sitting on him this spring for sure.
I mean, nothing to add, to be honest. I think you summed it up perfectly on Bentley. Like just the progress in a short period of time here, I think tells you quite a bit. So definitely 29. Yeah, go ahead, Fields.
Yeah, I mean, just one quick nugget. I mean, the first thing I just said to Bentley, I think when I saw him, I was like, wow, you got big.
Yeah.
He measured in at 155 last year at the JFGs, and he's 165 already, and it's really hard to add weight when you're 14 or 15. So that's really something.
Yep. Same kind of goes for Tegan Tate. Like this is another like two-way player from this class who was also at the Junior Future Games. But I thought on the mound it looked really sharp. Fields, did you get a chance to see it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, Tegan's always really stood out on the mound, just the way it works. They just feel the spin. the fastball really plays out of the hand. I mean, 16.2 inches of carry, upwards of 19 with, I mean, it's 85 with some feel for the zone. It's all around the zone with all of his pitches. I mean, really spins a slider. It's kind of this bigger sweeping, like just frisbee pitch in the upwards of 70, and then there's a fading changeup off of it with a lot of run. So, I mean, the mound definitely a takeaway, but Deegan Tate's also at the plate. There was a lot of impact. The swing seemed cleaner, and like he was getting to his A swing just a lot easier. Ball was jumping off the bat with a lot less effort. So I mean, just going into that, like obviously still 15, and he's impacting the baseball with some ease. And there's a lot of stuff to like on the mound.
Yeah, 2,300 spin rate on that breaking ball. So, I mean, he can really spin it. And from 80, we clocked him at 80 last year, 80 miles per hour, 80.5, all the way up to 85.4. So, can't quite round that up. It's still, an 85.4 mile per hour fastball, but yeah, that's a big jump for a freshman.
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah, he has definitely proven himself. Just yet again, another 29 here to follow. Same goes for Owen Adams, Bayport, Parker Sell, West De Pere, Mason Morphe from Iola, Scandinavia. Anything to add on those three guys? Those are three that we talked about inside our quick hits. All three of them super interesting. I thought, like, I mentioned this right at the top, but it's worth repeating here that, like, I think if anything, this group at Green Bay was most useful in helping us learn who some of the top 2029s in the state are, whether we knew them coming in, we got these refreshed looks at them, or we just didn't know them coming in, and we got to kind of add them to our list of follows moving forward. I felt like that was probably the biggest, like, positional group to kind of learn from and kind of those names and add those follows to our list. But anything you guys want to, either those three or some 29s that I have not yet mentioned that you want to chip in on?
Fields?
I don't really.
I just think the takeaway here, kind of reiterating Andy's point, is this 2029 group is like getting really, really exciting. Yeah. And those three names that you just mentioned at the end, among others that are in that quick hits document between Owen Adams, Parker Sell, and Mason Morphe, like, we're just coming off the event at South Milwaukee, actually, in Racine. We just saw a bunch of really interesting 2029s there as well. So this 2029 group is that 2026 group is the best class, in my opinion, in Wisconsin history. This 2029 group, I don't know if it'll rival it, but it's certainly making a case for, like, this is going to be one of the top classes in the state of all time. I mean, really, it's a lot of really, really talented players.
Just to have this amount of names that I feel like are totally earned the, like, follow, quote unquote, like, list type vibe. Like, it's a really bright future for this group. We have a ton more names, like we keep mentioning. I said the quick hits. I can't go that. We have to mention Elijah Yeager just because he's I was like, oh no, we forgot to mention Elijah. Hortonville Junior, 2027. I just have to mention him because he had like a tough injury last year, rebounded from it, and kind of like looks already caught up. Like, and if he's not, that's only like more impressive because metrically he's a really interesting kid as it is. He was up to 86 in the mound. He's athletic with an easy, like, right-handed, athletic swing with, like, feel for the barrel. He took one of the better defensive rounds of the day, up the middle of the infield. Vinny, do you want to talk a little about him just briefly? Just because I just love that he came back and looks better than ever. From the injury he had, and like I just wanted to make sure we spoke about him quickly before we wrap things up.
Son of Coach Yeager over at Hortonville. I mean, we've always liked Elijah. I've always been like super high on him when he was a freshman. I'm like, this kid's going to be a top 10 player in the class, and that injury kind of derailed him a little bit, but it's not slowing him down. Just a tremendous kid with tremendous makeup as well. You can tell he's the son of a coach. Just the way his approach to the game. Super clean on both sides, right? Mm-hmm. And so now all of a sudden, like, he's getting even bigger and stronger, and he's still got room left. He's going to make his mark in this state at some point, and we're going to not be surprised just because, Elijah Yeager can play.
Comp here, I don't actually know if this is that good. This one is has a secondary comp feel where it's Tanner Harabi, son of a coach.
Yep.
It's a great one.
Son of a coach.
River Falls, right?
Yeah, and he's playing well. I think I haven't looked up his stats this year, but he played a lot last year for River Falls. Coach Bartline over there, and he was playing a lot last year as a freshman. I think he's been playing a lot as a sophomore this year, and he kind of has the same vibe in the sense like Tanner Robbie was like a really quality contact basketball kid with athleticism. Felt like he was just going to fill out in college, like one of those kids that I guess late bloomer you call it. And he kind of fits the same mold, just physically and with some of the peripherals. He's the smooth defender that maybe hasn't had this whatever. Just the reps, the reps are a little bit behind as he's just coming back from the injury. But it's kind of a matter of time before he comes into his own and really breaks out. Whether it's this year or as a senior, I think it's a matter of time.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, yeah, thank you. That could be
marathon episode right here, Andy. Yeah. Nice work.
Yeah, that was an impromptu routine report, I guess, with Elijah Yeager. So.
Oh, I like it. Yeah. We talk. Yeah, we ended up talking how we structure these now. Just kind of go down and talk about some of the top performers. So I think we're probably. That's essentially what the Rutino report is. So it's like a whole episode of Rutino reports and Fields reports and Soroka reports.
Yeah. I love it. All right, so just real quick, I'll just mention that this coming weekend we're going to be in Eau Claire on Saturday, March 14th. The following day we'll be in Madison at GRB Academy on Sunday, March 15th. I guess in between both events we'll have our first Rising Stars event of the season, which is for 7th and 8th graders. That will also be at GRB Academy on Saturday night, March 14th. And then the following weekend we're kind of wrapping things up. Which feels crazy, but we'll be in Franklin at the Mosh Center on Saturday, March 21st, and then the following day, final event of this winter season here will be in Mosinee at the Crystal Training Institute for the first time ever on Sunday, March 22nd. So just if you're looking to join us at one of those events, I would say register soon. Register as soon as you can. Reach out to us if you have any questions. If it's your first event, looking for a little bit more guidance, etc. Just reach out to any of us by any means necessary. I'm sure we'll get back to you as soon as we can, answer those questions, make you feel comfortable heading into your first event, or just looking for a little bit more clarification on how to go about recruiting, etc. We're kind of all ears on that front, so we're pretty open books. Vinny, this was a long episode, so I think we just got to go straight into the outro, so we don't drain people's.
This was my computer is actually gonna die right now, any second here. So hopefully this uploads. But the outro, we're gonna add a little bit to it.
Let's do it
here at the Badger State Podcast. We round up.
Let's round up.
Let's go, Team Cheese.
I like it. Let's go. All right. See you guys. Thank you.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Badger State Ball Podcast. To keep tabs on our latest events, rankings, and coverage, subscribe or follow the show on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify, and follow us over at PrepBaseballWI on X and at PrepBaseballReport.com/Wisconsin. Until next time.